was done, simulating the entire launch preparation. The entire process lasted 24 hours. That's now been formally concluded, and everything, according to ISRO, went smoothly. So now, officially, the countdown begins to the actual launch.
Chandrayaan-3 is all set to be launched from Sriharikota at 2:35 p.m. on Friday, 14th of July. And with that, India will become the 4th country to join the Ivy League of moon explorers. Chandrayaan-3 is largely a replica of its predecessor, Chandrayaan-2. It was launched in July 2019 in the form of an orbiter and a lander Vikram, bearing a rover Pragyan. Vikram entered into orbit around the moon, but the surface mission failed in September 2019. The lander Pragyan crashed instead of executing a slow descent. ISRO later identified a problem in the guidance software and an unexpected dispersion in the propulsion system during certain phases of the descent. This time, Chandrayaan-3 rocket will place the payload in
ISRO cameras, the official ISRO cameras that we have here in India today, showing you precisely what the rocket looks like right now. Those images on the right-hand side of your screen, let's make them bigger. Those are live pictures of that rocket. Everything is ready now. Very little can change the trajectory of what takes place between now, Akshita, and 2:35 p.m. It looks like everything is locked and ready now.
Glorious images really that are coming in right now from Sriharikota. Bright sunny day, and amid that you've got the rocket standing tall, ready for liftoff, Shiv. In 32 minutes from now, 2:35 p.m. is the slotted time. The countdown is on at also the Satish Dhawan Space Centre. As you pointed out, the ISRO chairman is also there. They're ready. All all rehearsals, everything has been taken care of. A few hours back, Pramod also told us that the fueling was done, as is the protocol. You had the entire vehicle, in fact, being moved to the launch pad as well. So there it is, gloriously standing tall, and in 30 minutes from now, it will take off. 16 minutes, Shiv, is the entire process, which we will be tracking closely post 2:35. For 16 minutes, we'll get constant updates from ISRO on the different stages of the launch alone. ISRO has done this, of course, several times. Even the vehicle that's being used here, the GSLV Mark III, has done this at least 3 to 4 times successfully. So this is the part that ISRO is particularly confident about. And then the countdown will begin for 40 days from now, which is when the descent in the moon will begin. Live images there. Union Minister Jitendra Singh also present for this big day. We're expecting that 40 days from now at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre, you will also have Prime Minister Modi hopefully there when it comes to August 23rd. We'll connect with our reporters as well, Pramod Madhav, as well as Nagarjun Dwarkanath, who are joining us live. Nagarjun, I'm coming across to you. Show us the countdown clock at the ISRO Centre. The ISRO chairman, we understand, is there now.
ISRO chairman has just reached the mission center. He's sitting along with MOSPMO, Mr. Jitendra Singh, as well as the previous ISRO chairman, Mr. K. Sivan. All of them have joined hands with the present ISRO chairman right now to wish him good luck. Not just him, but a team of scientists who are behind this. Project Director Chandrayaan-3 and the Director of Vikram's Sarabhai Space Centre. All of them are here together to watch this spectacle of Chandrayaan-3, which is set to take off in less than 33 minutes from here on. 2:35 is the time when this launch will happen, exactly at 2:35, 9 seconds. So, and commentary also has started. All the scientists in the mission control have taken their seats. The running commentary has begun from the ISRO end. The weather also is good, is what we have been told. So, everything as per plan is going on. And this will have 6 payloads, Akshita, that we were talking about. It will have a payload on the lander, on the rover, as well as the propulsion module as well. So in the lander it will have 3 payloads, and the rover will have 2 payloads, and the propulsion module will have 1 payload. Like I was mentioning earlier, 16 minutes will be the crucial phase till the separation of the last stage will happen, and the whole where the whole lander and the rover comes out of this whole rocket is when the separation will happen. That 16 minutes will be quite crucial till the final lander and the rover and propulsion module, which goes to the Earth orbit. Till then, all eyes will be on the sky and mission control will be monitoring closely. And most likely at 4:30 is when the presser will start. ISRO chairman will brief us as to what happened in the takeoff and the launch, and then he'll give us more insights as to what to look forward in the next few days.
Now everything is locked and loaded, Naga. All confidence at an all-time high right now. 29 minutes to go, so less than half an hour to go. 28 minutes to go for the launch of Chandrayaan-3. The site has been completely cleared. All sanitization has taken place. The telemetry station at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre is fully ready. The monitors are on. Everything is completely ready now. Nothing can change the fact that 2:35 p.m. is going to be the launch moment.
That's absolutely true. In fact, yesterday it rained heavily in the border of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. We almost had doubts if the weather would play a spoil sport. But luckily, even the ISRO scientists are saying that was not a concern at all because they had predicted the weather much before and they also set a reserve date. But as per plan right now, it's going on. There's no going back from here. Another 30-odd minutes. Takeoff will happen here at the Sriharikota Center. The ISRO chairman has just arrived at the mission center to join him and to give him more support as the previous ISRO chairman. Mr. Sivan, who was the ISRO chairman back during Chandrayaan-2, who has more and more insights about it, who has more experience, is also here. The present ISRO chairman was a Vikram Sarabhai Space Centre director back then when Mr. Sivan was leading the Chandrayaan-2 project. And now he's also here guiding him, giving him support to represent the government. We have Mr. Jitendra Singh, the Union Minister who represents the PMO, he's also here. So, series of scientists are here at the Mission Control Center. Post this, all the action moves to Bengaluru, where the tracking center is there, and all eyes on August 23rd when the landing will happen. And most likely, like last time, we would not be surprised if the Prime Minister once again flies down to Bangalore to be with the ISRO scientists, to give them a hug last time what he did for Mr. Sivan, and give a pat on the back for taking up this project and going ahead within a short span of 4 years after the last glitch.
You know, I just want to speak for a moment about the LVM-3, which is the GSLV Mark III rocket that you see in those pictures. I want to focus on that rocket for just a moment. We've got those images of the rocket, live pictures. This is ISRO's direct feed, unedited. We're showing you both the spectators as well as the rocket as it is right now in Sriharikota. That's the rocket live with no deferred visuals at all. It's a 43.5 meter high rocket called the GSLV Mark III. It's called the LVM-3. It has a liftoff mass of 640 tons. It has 3 stages. It has a diameter of 4 meters. 4,000 kilogram payload, about 3.9 tons, as a matter of fact, is the payload that this beast of a rocket is going to blast Chandrayaan-3 into space with. We're going to be joined by experts in just a moment from now, but I want to continue to stay with our reporters for just a moment longer because you can see the sky is a little cloudy, but that I doubt is going to deter ISRO right now because they've got all their MET data, they've got all their weather data, visibility data, all locked and loaded. So like I said, unless something drastically changes, which it shouldn't, 2:35 p.m. in a few seconds is when the Chandrayaan-3 mission officially begins by being blasted off from Sriharikota. We're joined now, Akshita's still with me, Pramod and Nagarjun with us live from Sriharikota. I want to get a word in from B.C. Bhatt, who's Associate Professor at the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. Mr. Bhatt, 24 minutes and counting, nail-biting moments for the entire team at Sriharikota. What's going through your mind as we look at these images, sir?
Yeah, definitely it is a very anxiety is going on, how it can take off, and what I heard, the weather is very fine there, and there is no doubt launch will be successful, and we all are waiting anxiously for all these happening in the history of Indian science and Indian space.
Very true. We've all got our fingers crossed. Mr. Bhatt joining us also live. Just to give some perspective, Shiv, you referred to also the launch vehicle here, the LVM-3. Now, to tell our viewers about how high this is. When you see it in this kind of a view, you don't really realize how mammoth this particular vehicle is. Now, the GSLV itself is half the height of the Qutub Minar, essentially.
Yeah.
So a massive chunk of the Chandrayaan mission, and what you see there as the vehicle, is largely the launch vehicle, is the LVM-3. It's called the Bahubali, and for good reason, because it's so successful, has always been one of the most stable agents of ISRO. On top, you have the Vikas engine as well. Again, a brainchild of the Indian Space Research Organization, with which Mr. Nambi Narayanan was closely associated. The lander Vikram is right on top. The rover Pragyan is also right on top. So the focus will be 40 days from now on what lander Vikram and the rover Pragyan really do. The rover will look to roam around on the surface of the moon, the South Pole, because there's a lot of talk about water molecules being there, Shiv. So there's going to be a lot of focus on what really emerges from this mission. But right now, you're right, everyone's going to be talking about ISRO's Bahubali and perhaps India's Bahubali.
India's Bahubali, ISRO's Bahubali. I mean, I can only imagine the kind of excitement levels. I have been in Sriharikota during a rocket launch, as have you, Akshita. You know, it's very difficult to describe the kind of mood there, the kind of electricity in the air. It's very quiet. There's not a lot of, you know, hubbub or buzz. You know, the scientists are quietly going about their work, but the tension and suspense, and I mean tension in a very positive way.
घर के लिए टाइल्स देखने कब चलना है?
अरे अभी के अभी कर लेते हैं ना कुछ डिजाइन शॉर्टलिस्ट।
अरे ऐसे कैसे कर लेते हैं बिना देखे कि टाइल्स लगने के बाद कैसी दिखेंगी?
देख लो। सिंपल।
Elemental analysis to derive the chemical composition. Infer mineralogical composition of the South Pole lunar surface. This is critical for mineral and chemical finding as well as for future manned moon
Big
missions.
launch. You know, in your view, what will the mood be like? Describe for us what's going on in your view at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre right now.
Thank you, Shiv, for inviting me to the program. I think there'll be butterflies in their tummies.
Yeah.
So, you know, nervous moments, you know, last moments where the countdown is beginning, you know, it is a nail biter for now. We've had some hiccups in the previous launches with Chandrayaan-2, and I'm sure all those errors have been rectified. And the scientists, the engineers who are there at Sriharikota will be making sure that everything goes right, and they are ticking all the right boxes.
You know, in terms of preparations, will any, will the scientists be making any changes right now? How dynamic is that situation? Or is everything locked and loaded now? Now it's just about the launch, Professor.
It's just nothing is locked and loaded because the drill is already done. The launch is already set. The parameters that go into monitoring the launch vehicle, the stage separations are already locked. And the entire system, the entire dashboard is predetermined, if I may say so.
All right. Professor, just stay on with us. Let's try to get the mood on the ground. That's where all the action is. I'm sure all our viewers want to know what's happening right now in Sriharikota. Pramod Madhav is getting you the best possible view of the launch pad right now, of the Chandrayaan as it waits for liftoff. Pramod, show us around. You know, I can see that the launch pad is right behind you.
It's absolutely, Akshita. In fact, it's like we have been guarding the launch pad for the past 3 days since we are here. Let me show you the launch pad once again. And the view here is absolutely beautiful. And there are people who've gone to the gallery, and the ISRO officials have said in the past, like almost when they opened the gallery availability, within 3 hours, it got completely full. And there are thousands of people who are at the gallery also waiting for the launch. And there, in our visuals, what you see is the actual launch pad SLP, where we have the Chandrayaan, and everybody here are like completely 100% believe that this is going to be a success, because ISRO for this whole year has shown that it has mastered the LVM-3, and it's going to be another success. And we are waiting for the rocket to soar up from this position and perhaps to get a glimpse of that reflected on the water body right in front of us.
It's to go. You know, this is a level of excitement that's difficult to describe. ISRO is at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre. The entire mission Chandrayaan team, the director, the ISRO director, other dignitaries, other scientists, the entire team at their telemetry stations, observing every last minute issue with the Chandrayaan-3 and the LVM-3 rocket right before launch. 19.5 minutes to go before that takeoff. We're going to keep our cameras absolutely fixed. Pramod, one of the few journalists down there with this kind of vantage point, just a couple of kilometers away from the launch site. As you can appreciate, viewer, we can't get any closer because of, obvious issues. This is a very, very powerful rocket. So there is a radius around which, nobody is allowed to be at this point of time. Rocket engineers, ISRO scientists are the only ones, who have access granted. And even at this time, that will be very, very restricted because the final countdown of 18.5 minutes now has officially begun. These are live pictures of the LVM-3 rocket. 2:35 p.m. is the takeoff moment. Pramod, 16 minutes, like Nagarjun was describing to us, 16 minutes is the total duration of the first phase of this mission, after blastoff. You've been interacting with many of the scientists there. What have they been telling you about this mission? Because this is the second attempt, of a Chandrayaan mission of this kind that will see a landing on the moon, a soft landing on the moon. What was the sense you got from many of the scientists who are the very same scientists who were part of Chandrayaan-2?
Well, like Shiv, one thing I have to very clearly mention, be it Chandrayaan, be it PSLV, be it SSLV, every mission ISRO gives 100% concentration, and the scientists over here, even when I was speaking to them almost the past 2 days, a couple of them I could see that they were extremely tired, and I told them not to worry, this is going to be a definite success. They are claiming that they cannot take the chance because this is something that they are doing for India. And imagine if Chandrayaan, once it makes a successful soft landing in the moon, India would be the 4th country to do so. And many scientists already believe that India already has the capacity to do so, because no matter how many times various other countries had gone across the moon, landed on the moon, it was Chandrayaan-1 which actually gave clear importance about the water content on the moon's surface, that too near the South Pole. And then Chandrayaan-2 was there. That also, until now, the actual orbiter is providing a lot of high resolution information that is also being utilized in Chandrayaan-3. In fact, this particular module, which is almost carrying 6 sensors, the important aspect here is to only maximum prove the technological demonstration of a soft landing. Thereby, ISRO would prove that you can go for manned missions, you can make soft landings on the moon. The only challenge here, unlike Mars, is that the moon does not have an atmosphere. They have to do a controlled descent. ISRO has already mastered it on Earth, and now they are going to prove, I am 100% sure that they are going to prove it on the moon's surface as also, Shiv.
Okay, Pramod, don't jinx it for us just yet. Let's also keep our fingers crossed, prayer on our lips that everything goes smoothly. Our scientists have worked so very hard on this moment. Pramod, in the run-up to this, with the last 15 minutes or so to go now, take us through the process, the protocol that was followed today. We understand the vehicle was formally moved to the launch pad a few hours ago. The fueling was done. Run us through that procedure. I see so many people, by the way, who've gathered there to catch the launch live.
Well,
Viewers gallery दर्शकों से खचाखच भरी हुई.
Sure is, Akshita. This particular GSLV Mk3 LVM3 has 3 stages, of which the first one is considered as S200 rocket boosters. That actually runs on solid fuel. That is like solid state fuel. That will take the satellite, the rocket to a certain level, from which the L110, that is a liquid state, that will take over and that will boost it forward. And on the third one, a very important one, something that is not available to many nations, is the cryogenic engine, and we have something called as C25 Vikas cryogenic engine, indigenously developed by ISRO, by India, and that engine is the one that takes the module to the last phase, whereby it will be placed at 170 kilometers perigee, which means the closest point to Earth, and from there it will make an elliptical orbit, of which the maximum distance, which is called as apogee, will go almost to 35,000+ kilometers. center. So this is how the elliptical process will be there, because there is something called as tidal lock, by which this will be locked. This satellite will be locked to the command center, and it will make almost 5 rotations, post which a very important aspect called as the lunar orbit injection should occur. ISRO has already done it successfully. I'm not trying to jinx Akshita, but I have 100% confidence on ISRO. That's what I'm trying to say here, because that's a very, very important, properly calculated method, and ISRO has proved it not once but twice already, and also once in Mars. And after that injection, that particular module, the propulsion module, lander module, and the rover will revolve around the lunar orbit for nearly 5 times, of which after reaching a 100-kilometer distance from the moon's surface, the propulsion module will release, and the actual lunar module will go for the next step. That will be the descent. They are using thrusters. Controlled descent will also occur. And this is where scientists have very clearly mentioned that this time that particular panel that has the module has been given a kind of like extra advantage to land anywhere. Earlier it was 500 to 500. That was the actual distance allotted for the lander, and this is where the issue occurred, because it started losing rapidly the height, but the lander software tried to calculate it, and there is actually a kind of lapse time by which they nearly 7 minutes forward and 7 minutes back for the transmitters and to get the commands, and that turned out to be an issue. But now the particular lander has been given a distance of 4 kilometers to 2.5 kilometers of that place anywhere it can land. And second thing is that the actual load on the lander has also been reduced, because already Chandrayaan-2 has mapped the moon's surface. That data has been fed into the lunar orbit. All the lunar orbit has to do is take a picture immediately within microseconds. It will measure it, calculate it with the preloaded images, and it will make a landing. Director Somnath has also very clearly mentioned that the last phase of correction would be to avoid any obstacle that is above 30 centimeters or bigger, and that way the landing will be done. Yes, this is going to be a success, Akshita. Again, I'm saying I'm not trying to jinx it, but this is actually as per the information given by ISRO scientists, and I 100% believe in them.
You know, nobody's ever going to jinx this. Pramod is an India-loving journalist, so we have to trust everything he tells us, because he's the guy, Akshita, with the best possible view in the house. You know, nobody has a view like Pramod. In fact, Pramod has a better view than even the scientists, because the poor scientists have to sit inside the telemetry station. Pramod has this beautiful, filterless view of the launch site, and he's going to have that dramatic picture that we'll of course bring to you live here in just 12 minutes and 16 seconds from now when that rocket lifts off. But, just to tell all of our viewers that whatever happens from now on, and it's going to be an amazing textbook launch, because that's what ISRO is known for. I can tell you for sure that even up till this point, the Chandrayaan-3 is already a successful mission, because the work that has been done to understand, identify issues, correct them, improve them, and reach this point of confidence where another mission can take place in just 4 years after Chandrayaan-2 means that everyone you see on your screen right now is already an amazing national hero. These are people who have dedicated their entire lives to this one mission, to furthering India's reach into space, a country that is only 76 years old. Being able to even dream of a soft landing on the moon is an incredible achievement, no matter which way you slice it. So I want to make it very clear that this is already a success. We're declaring Chandrayaan-3 a success already, because that is what it is. The men and women of ISRO are now 11 minutes away from witnessing their baby. Ultimately, it's a 3,900 kilogram, spacecraft, hardly a baby, but for all of these scientists there, it's a baby. I mean, they're going to see their baby go to the moon, Akshita.
I don't know about you, Shiv, but at 10 minutes to go, my heart rate's going up now, because we're getting closer and closer to blast off. You refer to Chandrayaan-2 saying, at no point can we call it a failure, and I completely agree with that, because there's so many learnings. And look, this is a very, very elite club. We have to recognize that there are only 3 countries in the world which have accomplished what India is attempting to do. The United States, the then Soviet Union, and then China. And we are now joining that extraordinary league with this Chandrayaan-3 mission. I'm going to hop on to the optimism board here, like you and Pramod, and we will hope and pray that everything goes well. There are a number of changes, of course, Shiv, that have been made, keeping in mind what happened with Chandrayaan-2. The number of engines in the lander from 5 has been made 4. There have been sensory changes made so that even the lander, when it realizes something goes wrong, can immediately take a call of its own, seeing what the surface of the moon looks like. Besides that, of course, they're also saying that the software has been tweaked a bit. So even if a few parts of the vehicle actually fail, ISRO has ensured there are backup options so that in those 4 years that they worked on Chandrayaan-3, if anything at all goes wrong, they have a plan B in place to get that kicking in motion as well.
10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go for the Chandrayaan-3 launch. Excitement is absolutely white hot at the Sriharikota Space Centre. The scientists have their heads down. Everyone's quiet. There's a nail-biting suspense for us civilians, but for the scientists there at ISRO, this is just another rocket launch. They've done this so many times. You know, this is baएं हाथ का खेल as far as ISRO is concerned. They've shown to the world how successfully they are able to conduct missions of this kind, and this is going to be only the latest among them. The Chandrayaan-3 is going to be India's most ambitious mission, under 9 minutes before the actual launch. As you can see in all of these pictures, ISRO is full of men and women scientists who've dedicated their entire lives and careers towards specific mission objectives on specific missions. All of the people you see there have, represent all parts of the country. And if any one of you has visited ISRO, you will see that scientists come from every part of the country to be part of the country's space program there at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre, where excitement levels will be absolutely through the roof right now. The engines are fueled, ready, the countdown has begun, 8 minutes to go. Pramod is still with us. Pramod, only 8 minutes to go now for that launch. The ISRO director, all of those scientists, they're seated right now, but I have a feeling they're going to be on their feet very soon.
It absolutely is, Shiv. In fact, I'm also staring at that rocket from here. My heart's pounding. It's just 8 minutes, and I'm just waiting for it because it's been several years we've been covering ISRO, but this is the first time I've got such a vantage point to see an Indian-made rocket launched from its launch pad. And we're also just waiting over here, standing on our toes for the launch. And the odd part is that the entire place is really quiet, Shiv. There is no much, even we couldn't see much birds around here. So it's kind of like a really a pounding moment for me as well, along with the other ISRO scientists and everybody, Shiv.
I think every Indian is going to be holding their breath when you see that familiar sign of the fire, the flames, and the rocket going up into the air. 2:51, Shiv, is when the entire procedure of 16 minutes of the takeoff will be completed. So that moment that you're mentioning of everyone up on their feet and applauding and clapping and celebrating should happen somewhere at about 2:51 after takeoff. So the takeoff is at 2:35. 16 minutes after that is going to be crucial. So that is the moment to watch out for. Huge viewing gallery there, packed as expected. Those are the lucky few who will be able to watch the moment Chandrayaan-3 is up in the air. I'm sure everyone who's in the south gets to see a slight glimpse of it in the skies. So they're the lucky ones. But yes, we're going to be getting those updates. Let's cut across live now to what's happening at the Satish Dhawan Space Centre. The official countdown, I'm sure, will be beginning any moment now.
Any moment now, 6.5 minutes to go. Let's just listen into the official commentary coming in from the ground.
440 न्यूटन के थ्रस्टर्स वाले इंजन्स लगे हुए हैं।
Astro Under Prime Chain actuation completed.
इसमें आवश्यक संचार सुविधाएं भी उपलब्ध हैं।
Speaking about the major milestones in the journey of Chandrayaan-3 to the moon, the spacecraft consists of propulsion module, lander, and rover. Lander is planned to touch down at south pole of moon. The major 10 phases of the mission are: the first phase, called the Earth-centric phase, comprises of pre-launch, launch, ascent, and earthbound maneuver. While the second phase is the lunar transfer phase. As the name suggests, the Chandrayaan spacecraft moves closer to the moon. Next 8 phases are in the moon orbit. The third being the lunar orbit insertion, followed by the moon-bound maneuvers phase, which mark the fourth phase, And next is, it is now that the propulsion module separates from the lunar module
6 minutes.
when 100 by 100 circular orbit of the moon is achieved. The Chandrayaan-3 in its sixth phase carries out D-boost
External power
from
withdrawn.
100 kilometers to 100 by 30 kilometers orbit.
Go for the Chandrayaan launch now. Only 5 minutes to go. Everything is completely locked and loaded, all ready. India Today's cameras primed, focused on that rocket, so you miss nothing in our live coverage right here. India Today, the most watched channel at this time, online and on television, to bring you this live coverage of India's most ambitious space mission. The Chandrayaan-3 is all set for launch. The LVM-3 rocket with the 3,900 kilogram Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft is all set for liftoff from the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. You can see pictures of a large group of spectators lucky enough to be not very far from the launch site. They're going to get an amazing vista, Akshita, of the launch that takes place in just 4 minutes from now. Under 4 minutes from now is when the liftoff is going to take place. Let's listen to some of that commentary.
Waiting for the touchdown of the lander on the surface of moon. The launch view gallery with the overwhelming crowd of visitors.
पूरे दर्शक दीर्घा यहाँ बहुत उत्साहित। मौसम में थोड़ी परेशानी हो सकती है, लेकिन सब अपनी सुविधाओं के साथ में यहाँ उपस्थित हुए हैं।
We are close to 4 minutes from the scheduled launch time.
Minus 4 minutes.
Gaining from the heritage of Chandrayaan-2, the Chandrayaan-3 is upgraded in several aspects for the enhanced robustness
Pyro
through
and wall
extensive
battery.
ground tests and simulation.
Onboard computer in flight mode.
ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस जारी है। इस दौरान सभी संचार तंत्रों की स्वास्थ्य जांच, बैटरी आवेशन पूर्ण किया जा चुका है। कुछ अंतिम गतिविधियां जैसे ऑनबोर्ड कंप्यूटर पर रियल टाइम प्रोग्राम लोड करना, पायरो लाइन को आर्म मोड में लाना, गैस टैंक्स का अंतिम आवेशन, और यह सभी घटनाएं संतोषजनक तरीके से पूर्ण की जा रही हैं।
Minus 3 minutes.
अब हम उड़ान से 3 मिनट की दूरी पर हैं। प्रमोशन तथा इस प्रमोशन की घटनाक्रम को पहले ही बताया जा चुका है। सर्वप्रथम दोनों S200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर प्रज्वलित किए जाएंगे T0 पर।
Pre-flight pressurization of the hydrogen tank commenced.
S200 के प्रज्वलन के 108 सेकंड के पश्चात L110 जो कि
Minus 2 minutes.
तरल नोदक पर आधारित चरण है, इसका प्रज्वलन शुरू कर दिया जाएगा। L110 के प्रज्वलन के पश्चात करीब 137 सेकंड पर S200 बूस्टर्स को यान से पृथक कर दिया जाएगा।
We are close to 1.5 minutes from the scheduled launch time.
सभी दर्शकों को ज्ञात है यह एक ऐतिहासिक मिशन होने वाला है। पूरे भारतवर्ष की आंखें इसमें हैं। इस यादगार पल के लिए यहाँ सब उपस्थित।
minus 1 minute.
अब हम उड़ान से 1 मिनट की दूरी पर
45 seconds. Minus 50 seconds.
All sequences armed. Stage ready.
Minus 45 seconds. Minus 40 seconds.
L110 VHPP open. MOV
Minus
79
35
open.
seconds. Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
L110 VSPP open.
Minus 20 seconds. Minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LBM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft.
P2 tracking.
प्रज्वलन और सफलतापूर्ण उत्थापन LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का। यह भीमकाय रॉकेट आसमान को चीरते हुए अपनी भयानक दहाड़ से चारों ओर कंपन उत्पन्न कर रहा है। इसे हम यहाँ महसूस कर सकते हैं और यही दहाड़ है जो वैज्ञानिकों को रोमांचित करती है। LVM-3 के उत्थापन के साथ ही हमारे अंतरिक्ष यान चंद्रयान-3 की चंद्रमा की यात्रा प्रारंभ हो चुकी है।
As the rocket is soaring through the clear skies, every second moving closer to the accomplishment of the most important milestone in its mission to moon. Every Indian witnessing the launch live is content with the feeling of watching history in the making.
चंद्रमा की सतह पर अपना छाप छोड़ने के लिए चंद्रयान-3 अपने मिशन को पूरा करने निकल चुका है। वर्तमान में दोनों S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर सामान निष्पादन करते हुए अपनी निर्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं।
The S-200 motors thrusting simultaneously, generating a peak thrust of close to 6,000 kilonewtons in vacuum. They are made of HTPB-based solid propellant. 204.5 tons in each being burnt each second.
स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर्स का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 126 सेकंड का है और अभी घोषणा की गई L110 स्टेज का भी प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है।
Apart from the strap-ons, the core stage has also commenced its operation. This stage, based on combination
200 stages are separated.
of hypergolic earth storable liquid propellants UH-25 and N2O4. Now the S-200s have been separated.
घटनाक्रम के अनुसार यह यान इस यान से S-200 स्ट्रैप-ऑन बूस्टर्स को सफलतापूर्वक पृथक कर दिया गया है। यह काम सेपरेशन मोटर्स की मदद से किया जाता है। इसके बाद L110 तरल नोदक पर आधारित और विकास इंजन के साथ यह चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ अपनी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। अभियान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है।
L110 stage performance normal.
The trajectory of launch vehicle is closely following the prediction.
Payload fairing separated.
जी हाँ, पेलोड फेयरिंग को पृथक कर दिया गया है यान से, क्योंकि यान अब 114.8 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है। इस चरण का कुल प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकेंड होता है और इस दौरान यह करीब 1600 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणुद उत्पन्न करता है।
We are 220 seconds past the launch time. Current altitude is 135 kilometers. In the 200 seconds of its operation, the L110 stage carries the rocket up to 175.5 kilometers altitude and imparts a relative velocity of 4.18 kilometers per second, that is 250 kilometers every minute.
L110 stage performance normal.
LVM-3 M4 रॉकेट का द्वितीय चरण पूर्णतः सामान्य निष्पादन करते हुए इस चरण में कुल 113 टन के तरल नोदक भरे जाते हैं। N2O4 तथा UH-25 अर्थ स्टोरेबल प्रोपेलेंट को ईंधन के रूप में प्रयोग किया जाता है इस चरण में।
Stage ignition is authorized.
अगला चरण C-25 का प्रज्वलन भावी है।
Plus 5 minutes.
L110 stage thrust cut off and separated to C-25 ignition command. 25 ignition confirmed.
That's a piece of really good news that the third stage has started its operation. The C-25 stage has been ignited.
जी हाँ, एक बहुत ही जटिल प्रक्रिया होती है क्रायो इंजन का इग्निशन और इसके प्रज्वलन के साथ ही तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से गूंज उठा है मिशन नियंत्रण कक्ष। तृतीय चरण C-25 वर्तमान में प्रणोद उत्पन्न कर रहा है। पूर्णतः
118 kilonewtons thrust in vacuum is what the stage develops with its 28.6 tons propellant combination of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Present altitude is
performance normal.
तृतीय और यह अंतिम चरण है इस यान का C-25। यह क्रायो ईंधन पर आधारित चरण है जिसमें लिक्विड हाइड्रोजन लिक्विड ऑक्सीजन का इस्तेमाल होता है। इसमें कुल 28 टन का क्रायो ईंधन पूरी सुरक्षा तथा सावधानी के साथ भरा जाता है। इस चरण में 186 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न होता है और यह करीब 640 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित रहेगा। इसमें दिशा नियंत्रण के लिए इंजन जिम्बल का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। क्रायो ईंधन का विशिष्ट आवेग 446 सेकंड के करीब होता है।
currently the rocket is at an altitude of 210 kilometers.
Plus 7 minutes.
While there is no much variation in altitude, this stage will add to the relative velocity immensely.
Stage performance
अब आपको
normal.
पेलोड के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं। लैंडर मॉड्यूल्स पे कई वैज्ञानिक प्रयोगों के लिए पेलोड्स लगाए गए हैं।
And as you can see, it was an absolute textbook launch of Chandrayaan-3 on the LVM-3 GSLV Mark III rocket. Beautiful pictures as that rocket has blasted into space. Everything going like clockwork, exactly as planned. You can hear the satisfaction and the confidence being exuded in the voice of both the commentators as well as the ISRO scientist who's announcing each and every stage that is being successfully completed there. Pramod, our man on the ground in Sriharikota, is live with us. Pramod, how was the view? What did it look like watching the Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft blast into space? You had the best, seat in the room.
Absolutely, Shiv. It was $1 million view, and just our 3 days work of recce and finding this place has completely paid off. We saw the rocket launch from the base, the ground. Been here several years, but we could not find such a move because over there we had a treetop of which only will get the move, probably for 10 seconds. But here, for nearly a full 1 minute, we could see the rocket being launched from the SLP and go up. And second, even the ignition for the liquid stage, that is L110 the booster, even even we were able to see that, and it went up within a span of seconds. It was gone, but we had the best view of GSLV Mk3 from the ground ship.
That's right. So it's right now 2:45. Next 6 minutes, you will see officially the entire process of the takeoff being completed. You could also hear the cheers from the ISRO team inside. With every stage being completed, there were cheers, there was applause that broke out. The final standing ovation, when everyone will breathe a sigh of relief, Shiv, is in just about 6 minutes from now. At 2:51, that's when the entire 16-minute procedure actually comes to an end. Correct, Pramod?
India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3
Sure is, and already the solid state, the liquid state, and the C25 are completed, done. The only thing is that it has to place this particular module in the 170-kilometer distance from the Earth's atmosphere. That's what they're waiting for, and that takes a total of 16 minutes. Now, at official, like almost half the time is over, and the first 3 stages have been completed successfully. So the last part only we are waiting. But ISRO scientists, until and unless it's completely done, they will not say anything. But like I said, 100% sure the launch is success, and that particular module will also be placed at a perigee of 170 kilometers from the Earth's atmosphere, Akshata.
It's incredible because just about 3 or 4 minutes from now, we're going to get those very, very heartening pictures from inside the telemetry and observation center in Sriharikota, where all of those brave scientists who've been waiting with bated breath finally get to exhale. They're going to be exhaling. They might get some time off finally after many weeks of crunch mode to make sure that Chandrayaan-3 has been a success, but it couldn't possibly have gone better. This was a textbook launch. Everything worked out absolutely perfectly. Like you were telling us, Pramod, everything happened on time. And these are difficult things. No matter how many times ISRO has done them and perfected the art of rocket launches, every single rocket launch is still a very nail-biting affair. There's a great deal of nervousness. There's a great deal of anxiety there. These are some of the top scientists in the world. They're trained, to handle these things in a professional manner and to be very calm. But the results of that professionalism is there for the entire country and the entire world to see. An amazing rocket blasting off perfectly into space, Pramod.
Absolutely. It's the best part about ISRO scientists, be it like former directors Kiran Kumar, Sivan, Mailsamy, or even Somnath, they do not show their overjoy. They just give it a small smile. That itself means it's a complete success. In fact, during Chandrayaan-2, the earlier launch was actually stopped because of an issue with O-ring at the final moment. So there was a lot of things that should be taken care of. But in the recent track record, at least this whole year, I could say that there have been no such instances because everything has been clear-cut, just like you mentioned. Everything has been textbook-wise and everything has been sorted out. It is not an easy job to send a rocket that weighs 642 tons soaring up the sky in 16 minutes to reach a distance of 170 kilometers. And they have absolutely done it. And we are at the last phase. Probably another 4 or 5 minutes we will know once that particular module is placed on 170 kilometers. Only then ISRO would go ahead, and even then they will very, very politely congratulate each other and come and respond to our questions. And they will. The thing is that as we are celebrating this particular event, ISRO is actually going ahead and planning about Gaganyaan. They want to send humans next, and that's the reason this particular Chandrayaan-3 is also very important, because soft landing is a very important aspect when it comes to sending people to the moon as well. So ISRO over there, it's like working on all those. So this one also, they're concentrating in very politely. I'm pretty sure once the mission is success, they'll very politely say that the mission is success and give us a very simple smile chip.
of Chandrayaan-3.
And no time to rest for our ISRO heroes, because after this, even once the takeoff is successful and it's deemed a success, they then get into work in ensuring that the next 40 days, they're constantly tracking this mission. But what you're seeing right now, that successful takeoff, Shiv, is courtesy Bahubali, is courtesy the LVM-3. The launch vehicle is what's done the heavy lifting for now. After this, 40 days from now, the focus will be, and Pramod, you can come in on this, considering you've done some great explaining of really how this entire Chandrayaan mission works. 40 days from now, the lander Vikram, the rover Pragyan. That's what everyone's going to be focusing on. If you actually look at the entire mission and the vehicle per se, the large chunk of that is actually the Bahubali.
Not very clearly mentioned in his reason when he gave the information that this time propulsion has been increased. The lander has been given more possibility to land at any location. Earlier, there were certain restrictions that has been removed. Earlier, because of certain software issues, what happened is that the descent, the speed and the acceleration, there was a confusion, and the lander also spun in a different speed. Those things have been eradicated. The actual thrusters have been decreased. Now imagine that all those tests have been done on Earth's surface, but the moon's actual surface, there the gravity is entirely different. It's 1/6 of Earth's gravity, and those things have also been tested. In fact, through scientists we come to know that nearly 100 tons of rock that actually resembles what is on the moon's surface is in a place called Namakkal in Tamil Nadu. That rock, 100 tons of rock, was moved to ISRO's testing area, and there they have done several bed tests, which means like using helicopters for crash landing or soft landing, and then also using cranes and various other purposes. Those tests were done, and now they're using thrusters, and the thrusters also limited to a certain extent to control the descent. And this is why Somnath also very clearly mentioned that whatever could go wrong, everything has been taken under consideration. In fact, that he claimed that there is a kind of quotient called as sigma, which means a certain amount of things that can go wrong. And normally for a test phase, they place 3 sigmas, but for Chandrayaan-3, it's actually 6 sigmas, and that's how much work and effort has been put on this Chandrayaan-3 module, Akshita.
The 40-day journey from Earth to the moon has begun officially. It's on August the 23rd or thereabouts when Chandrayaan-3 will not only arrive at the moon, but the landing will be attempted around that time. The date may differ, by a few days this way and that way, considering that there may be some variables once Chandrayaan-3 reaches the moon in about a month and a half from now. But this couldn't have possibly been a better start, Pramod. Everything has gone exactly to plan. Live images here.
I think the mission has been achieved.
The mission director.
This is mission director. The LBM-3 M4 Chandrayaan mission accomplished its precise satellite injection conditions. LBM-3 M4 mission is successful. Jai Hind.
The launch has also added a feather in the cap of LBM-3 rocket. You can watch the